it's been a perfect season for them. But again, this guy is not wilting under the pressure. He's not playing like a rookie. Everyone seems to be rallying around him. The defense is getting turnovers, and they, certainly had. I think the Lions were up. I think I forget the spread on that game, but it was at least a touchdown in the
I
game
can't
going
remember.
into it, and they pulled the upset. So guys, what did you think of it? I'm like, what am I seeing when they got up almost 3 scores in the first half? And Shawnee, we start with you. What was your impressions of the game, and how scary are these Commanders? It's almost like, do you pick against them now?
But it was a good game. It was a shootout, and it basically, I believe I mentioned it in one of our past shows about. Hell, I even mentioned that the Lions have a chance to be one and done because their regular schedule was basically kind of hiding their huge, holes in defense because all the injuries. But once in the playoffs and the teams are better, and usually the teams in the playoffs generally have some sort of an offense, unless it's just extremely defensive minded and just, dominant, they'll be able to take advantage of that defense. And that's exactly what Washington did. Um, Washington Washington is the perfect thing of I'd rather have my team play better at the end of the season than, peaking in the middle of the season, whatnot. Um, it's just that game versus the Bears seemed like the turning point of both of those teams' fate. Remember, the Bears was kind of starting to trend upward with Caleb Williams, so after that Hail Mary, they fell off, and the Commanders was kind of looked like they were starting to plateau, but after that Hail Mary, they took off. They just took off the opposite way, and they always had like a pretty solid offense, and they just stuff just clicked for them. They definitely got McLaurin activated early in that game, so he was a big difference. Golf, I guess he struggled per se. I just find it funny now that I was looking at social media and there's Lions fans already want Golf gone. They talking about they need an elite quarterback back there now. Like they had even sniffed the NFC Championship game before 1992. That was the last time they even went. All the other playoff appearances they lost. They never won another playoff game before 92 or after 92. So only thing, it was a great game, but the only thing interesting now about the Lions, they I don't know how they're gonna look like next year. They lost everybody. As far as their coaching, offensive coordinator gone, defensive coordinator gone. The dude who was going to be the defensive assistant who could replace Aaron Glenn, he's not a defensive coordinator with the Patriots. So I'm like, I don't. Coaches really make the team. Dan Campbell going to have a hell of a replenishing his coaching staff because I don't. Ben Johnson and that offense was making the click, and Aaron Glenn was highly respected around the league as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that team how they bounce back because they lost. They're gonna have damn near complete different coaching staff next year. Oh, you muted. You
Yeah, and
muted.
it just goes to show that again. I mean, we talk about it all the time. You take for granted that you get these opportunities to get back to the big game. Obviously, they blew an opportunity in San Francisco last year. They, certainly the season. I mean, certainly they had a ton of injuries on defense. I mean, you can't deny that. I mean, they lost their best defensive player Hutchinson early in the year with a horrific injury. Hopefully he comes back from that. But you can't just take these things for granted that you think you'll get back there, and we're seeing it across the board. But Dante, what were your thoughts on this outcome? I was, like I said, first half, I just didn't believe what I was seeing, but it just seems like Detroit was just all kinds out of sorts. What'd you say?
Just shocked because it's one of those deals where it's like, hey, you see that that you've had the problems on defense, and you've had an extra week to prepare guys to rest their bodies. I want to say they were one of those teams with an early bye week, so they really needed this bye. They went all out. You beat the Vikings, and and you feel like you got it together. Only for you to come out and have that type of performance, It was so bad. I had a friend of mine who's a Saints fan, and he definitely texted. He was like, "I'm out on Aaron Glenn," and I was just like, "Man," and I told him, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. As bad as that performance may have been, I do give them some type of slack due to what happened with their injuries. Also, got to cut them some slack, like just turning the football over, like just and it's like Jared Goff. We know he's not, one of those guys you put on that elite level, but from the turnovers happening, and like I want to say there was someone that tweeted out the drive clip of, hey, it was just score, 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 or score, score, turnover, turnover, and it's just like you can't have that, and you give a team that's a pretty good team, but what I would say a great young quarterback that looks like he's going to be that, but a team that's pretty good, you give them all the ammunition that they don't have the power on it. And now it's for the first time, and I don't know when, the Detroit Lions with the pressure on your shoulders, where you're expected to be here, you're the number one seed. And the tide just shifted. And it was just like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, I've seen this team build its way up from the biting the kneecaps to, going hard. What was it, the year where they couldn't make the playoffs and they kept the Packers out, that kind of stuff that meant something. That momentum carried over going to the NFC Championship last season. And, like you said, those opportunities, you can't take them for granted. And now I'm not saying they took this opportunity for granted, but it was just a bad storm of everything that could go wrong did. And, that now they're at home and now it's the worst thing because you lose, you're going to lose the coordinators. So now you lose the coordinators and, got people to pay. And now now you're at the situation where the fan base is going from, the local losers are, hey, we can't wait for the chance. Now there's expectation. So now you're coming into next season with more pressure, new coordinators coming in, and it's just kind of like a lovable story that everybody said, and some people even accused them of being cocky. They said, oh,
Mm.
they got too cocky, and now look what happened.
Yeah, it reminds me if you guys go back a few years. I remember the New York Jets with Rex Ryan. They made back
Yep.
to back AFC Championship games and whatnot, and he came in there with that bluster and whatnot. But just in those championship games, it was just stuff just didn't go their way. But at least they got there. But to lose in your first round coming out of the bye, that's yeah. And like I said, now there's a total team upheaval. So, Coach, you've obviously, from the players' perspective, from the game perspective, even for the coaching, just being uprooted like the way it was. What your thoughts on the game, and what do you think Detroit goes from here?
I'm not surprised by the outcome of the game.
Mhm.
Washington had nothing to lose. They was in the perfect position. They had nothing to lose. Detroit had everything to lose for this game.
Mhm.
But
Right.
also, Detroit has never been in this position. None of these players have been in this position, even the coach. So, and then I think Detroit had a couple of injuries throughout the game, so that sort of decimates your
Yeah,
team
yeah,
even
they were
more.
their defense was limping coming into
And
this for sure. Yeah.
it just goes to show that with this young quarterback Daniels, if he stays healthy, he could probably be one of the greatest that ever played the game.
Mm.
But this is his rookie year. We've seen it before. Players have a great rookie year. Sophomore season, it sort of dies out a little bit, but I'm not surprised by the outcome. Washington has been on a great momentum swing for the last 4 or 5 games, and they have a well-balanced attack. Now that he's running more, it's going to be difficult for any defense to sort of figure out a game plan for Washington. But hey, salute to him, man. Detroit, maybe next year, man, but we'll see. Hire Dante and Shawnee as y'all coordinators. Y'all might get a little bit done, man.
Man, look,
Yeah.
Hey,
But they're gonna.
I responded to this Scorched Earth comment. He was saying about the 49ers, how they deal with injuries and a new DC every year. No, most of the time when teams, hire a, 'cause it's a gift and a curse for franchises if they have good assistants. You already know pretty much the next year there's a good chance you're gonna lose them to a head coaching gig sometime.
Mhm.
But normally they have their own little pipeline within the team. Like, okay, you DC, that DC goes on to another place, usually like a defensive back coach or somebody that's already currently on the roster, unless it just happens to be a stud coordinator just free up that next off season. But usually somebody on the roster gets promoted up to that coordinator position. With the Lions case, they lost their stud offensive coordinator, their stud defensive coordinator, and the replacement to that defensive coordinator. So they losing on all levels. 49ers have to feel like when they lost Salah to the Jets, and hell, then they lost D'Amico Ryans, who was Salah's replacement. And now their defense is not looking up to par, even though they had their share of injuries. But that's just with the Lions. It's just they lost everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
And then it really hits them harder because you even lost your replacement.
Right.
So now it's like you got to go a little bit deeper. Maybe this next person on the staff was probably like a year or two, away. But maybe you have to be forced to either move him up earlier than expected, especially because they knew Glenn was going to get his opportunity. But they thought the dude right next to him was going, okay, we got our replacement. And the Patriots like, we need him, and put that money down on the table. So it's just they lost everything at the same time. So it's going to be a challenge for them to fill the spots back up.
And just conversely, I mean, can't leave just Washington in general out of this equation. Just the turnaround. I mean, think about it, like 3 years ago, this is one of the most dysfunctional franchises in the NFL. They had sex scandals. We all know about the former owner and all his business, the internal investigations. And he was like, look, I got blood on everybody in the league, and I'm going to spit everything out. Getting him out of football to turn this around. So they go from being the Redskins to the Washington football team, to the Commanders. And now, again, they're playing in the NFC Championship game in like a 3-year period. So this is like one of the greatest turnarounds. The only thing I could think that might be a little close, I know that Houston's team, again, 3-4 years ago, in the wake of Deshaun Watson going and all those coaching changes and whatnot, and they seem to be on a good standing now. Yeah, Magic Johnson effect.
It's the culture change. Culture,
but it's amazing how just a change in culture, and Coach, you maybe talk a little bit about that, how just a change in personnel, a change in culture can really have can pay dividends, quick dividends. How you could turn around something that, again, for 20, how long did Snyder own that team? 20 something years, almost 30 years.
I want to say probably like
he didn't want to sell that team.
Not me in 20 years.
Yeah. So I mean, you look at a team like, not hating, but again, you look at the Cowboys. They have certainly a culture that's been there for a minute. So I'm not taking any slights, but it could very well be that they're winning championships, absolutely. But you guys may have to, Jerry may have to go. Now, again, I don't know. Does the team now? If he, God forbid, I'm not wishing this or anything. If he passes, does his son does he automatically become the owner of the team? Is there a transition plan?
It's a family-owned business.
Yeah,
family-owned business. So then he takes over.
He takes over, and he's the most involved on the football side. All the kids are involved. I want to say the daughter Charlotte, she does decoration, and she does I want to say she's involved with the cheerleaders. And
she is.
Jerry's
so she's like the Lakers. Was that Laker owner with the owner of the Lakers now? That was her thing.
Jerry Buss.
His daughter.
Yeah. He's like similar to that, and I want to say Jerry Jr. is in marketing, so he's kind of behind the scenes. So the only person in the front facing is Steven. And so it's just kind of like, it's one thing to say this, like, when you look at it and you see Washington, and it's like, man, you see what happened there, but Jerry is both too powerful and too connected. I don't think it had to be the scandal of the century for him to get put out. So it's kind of like,
I'm not even saying it'll get to that. I think he's a little bit more savvy. Although I did think those shots of him with the women in the elevator and stuff, that was kind of dicey back in the day. I don't know how he got past that one, but I guess he did.
Man,
I'm just saying,
those were rough.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but the fact that, I don't think his son wants to have a weekly radio show. I don't think his son doesn't strike me as someone who has to be out in front of everything.
Well, he has a weekly show. He has
a show, but I honestly think it's kind of like one of those, hey, I'm doing it, I'm making Dad happy. I wouldn't be surprised that if he took over, he would not be as involved. He's not. I don't think he's going to do the scrum after the game where you
Mm-hmm.
coming over and you're pulling media away from the players.
No, he won't.
Those are some things that I think will change. The only problem is in the here and now. I don't, with 2 division rivals in the NFC Championship, I don't think he sees the seriousness of it. Like, this is not a big deal. Like, any other organization, I think, would put the panic button. Even if they made bad moves, they will push and go literally, really all in to make a change. And that's the problem. He's so not they're so anti, like they feel like, hey, you feel like you're the smartest in the room. But now on the list of teams, you got to go to the AFC now to look at who has a longer or as long as AFC, conference championship title drought as appearing.
Right.
All the other teams in the conference have been at least to the conference championship, except for you.
Right.
And you can't look at it and see that it's a problem. That's the biggest thing. And that's why I said a lot of fans are checking out because you're seeing a great young quarterback. A lot of in the fan base don't feel confident in the current quarterback, and you're locked in for 4 more years. So it's just like there's not a lot of optimism at all. It's like you still root for the team, but it's just kind of like it's a bad time. Like I don't even want to watch the NFC Championship game. It's like I hate watching the teams that I hate watching the teams that you said what? Sore what?
That's a sore loser, Dante.
No, it's not a sore loser. Like you got to understand, Coach Burke. When a team if you are a rival of mine, I hate your team. I'm going to root for the other team. There's nobody to hate watch when I'm watching the Commanders and the Eagles. I'm not gonna like watching that game. That's just gonna be. There's no joy in that game for me.
Well, I can certainly speak locally since I live in the New York area. The Giants, they better get their act together. That used to be one of the most stable franchises back in the day when they had Eli and they were winning those Super Bowls and whatnot. And they've been, for the last 10 plus years, they've been a very dysfunctional place. They obviously gambled on the wrong person with picking a quarterback over the running back. And you see where they're at there and they're sort of in rebuilding mode. So again, if anybody needs to take a lesson from this, it's the Giants, and they may need to do another house cleaning as well to get things back on track. But,
add one more thing. I know people getting tired of talking about the Cowboys, but just one more. It's just interesting that, and I know stuff had to land. The ball have to bounce the right way for each respective team. But their defensive coordinator last year, who is now the head coach of the Commanders, is in the NFC title game. Their offensive coordinator, who technically the Cowboys didn't push out the door. It was McCarthy. McCarthy wanted the play calling duty. So after one stint in San Diego, now he's the offensive coordinator in Philly. He's going to the NFC title game. So basically, the 2 last legit coordinators are finding immediate success when they leave the Cowboys. Now, going back to this whole Snyder thing, Snyder had issues. Jerry don't have the issues that Snyder had. Those issues are cesspool-like. And it's a reason why they was trying to take this team away from him, but he just was not wanting to. Jerry's just, get another football mind in there to make decisions to improve your team. But Snyder, he was on a different level. I mean,
he was taking money from the teams.
Yeah,
he was holding money, and
he was on a different level.
He never mentioned the church's money.
Yeah, but shout Scorch Earth. Now he's making this comparison. It may not be too far off. Are we in Al Davis territory? Because Al kind of became the ratchety, get off my lawn type of guy. So I'm just saying, that's not an unfair comparison. Jerry Jones to Al Davis, and it's not like Mark Davis has had any success with the Raiders since then. But yeah, I think you're gonna have to do something different. Certainly going forward. But we can move out of the NFC since I know it's painful for Dante and Shawnee to talk about these things. Moving over to the AFC. So obviously you had Kansas City. They did certainly doing their thing. Making sure that they won. But I really want to focus on obviously the game of the week. Obviously was Buffalo and the Ravens. Yet again, they look fine against my team. So I can only say so much. But once again, Lamar Jackson, 2 turnovers in the game, 1 interception, 1 fumble. Mark Andrews, who put an APB out on him, still hasn't talked to anybody since that loss. Certainly a lot on him. He wasn't even there at the Monday cleanup. Cleaning your locker out. He wasn't there either. So it's like, look, maybe time to man up. But again, so how much do you guys want to put this on Lamar? I mean, it's almost like, him. It's like he's almost in a situation where the team has to play almost perfect. They can't get past an average or subpar performance. I thought he played very well in the second half, but I mean, you figure the Buffalo quarterback, I think he only had like 100. I don't think he had like 150 yards passing in the game. They just find a way to win. But it's like with Lamar, it's like there's so much pressure on him to, I guess, get over this hump that it's difficult to overcome. But again, it's difficult for anybody to overcome 4 turnovers, and you still had an opportunity to tie the game at the end. Again, Mark Andrews, again, a shoe-in catch to tie the game, to put it into overtime, see what happens, drops that as well. So again, you just can't have that kind of dysfunction for any team to win. But because it's Lamar, we're having this conversation again. And again, we already talked about with Detroit and with the 49ers, the window closes very quickly. So another question is, again, will Lamar, how much faith do you have in the Ravens and Lamar to get over this hump for him to get to a Super Bowl, let alone win a Super Bowl? So again, your thoughts on the game, percentage of blame you put on Lamar, his performance in the game, and then again, is his window to win a championship, is it closing? Especially also given who he's got to go up against. As long as Mahomes is there, you still got Burrow in Cincinnati, Josh Allen in Buffalo. He's going to have to, find a way to go over this. So just overall, so again, we start again, Shawnee, and we'll just kind of go around the room.
Well,
what do you guys think?
I'm gonna go last on this one because I got
Okay. I said let's start with Coach. Coach, you start first, and we'll finish with Shawnee.
I don't think his window's closing. He still has a lot of good years, at least 10 more good years. Problem is
he's 28. He's relatively healthy.
He can play to 40. We've seen it with players already, still struggling at 40. But I don't think the window's closing. Those mistakes every year in the playoffs are going to cost you, and it just goes to show that sometimes he's careless and crucial. I don't think it affected the outcome of the game. But the defense was struggling also, so your defense has to stop teams on third down. And Buffalo came up with the perfect recipe. You must run the ball. And they were running the ball at the Ravens, and the Ravens couldn't stop it, but the Ravens must bring everybody back. Get a few more pieces on defense, bring everybody back. They must bring Derrick Henry back. If they let him go, they're going to be in rebuilding mode just about, because it's hard to find a running back of his talent. But, 2 turnovers, and you still had a chance to win the game. I'll take that any day of the week. It's just that they didn't execute. You can blame it on the weather. You can blame it on anything. But they just didn't execute in the crucial points of the game. So that cost them the game. I will say this, though. I think that game determined I think that game determined the MVP right there.
Oh, so you think it's going to Josh Allen?
Yeah, I think it's going to go to Josh Allen.
I mentioned something about that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Dante, what are your thoughts on the game? Again, the game on Lamar and his shout out to What We Know podcast. Like I said, it wasn't us, bro. It was like the song. It wasn't me. So it was, we didn't set it up, but good. Shout out to my man. Still shows up in the place. That's what's up. Still with them colors, man. Shout out. But so Dante. So again, the game on Lamar Lamar's overall performance, and again his window.
I'll say this: the game. I really enjoyed the game. It was really enjoyable. I wasn't on social. I was on social media enough, but I didn't feel the Bird Magic vibes that I thought I was going to get. As far as the people behind Josh Allen, some people have ulterior motives. If you haven't, just Google, look it up. And so I did enjoy it. It was enjoyable. But what I will say is, for Lamar Jackson, I just had to go look it up because I know the contract the market says he's going to take the blame. And when you get to 260 million, 52 million, annual average salary, you're supposed to take the blame. What he did after the game, coming on and taking onus on it. Hey, I can't do that. I get 2 turnovers. I can't have that. A lot of the fans were trying to blame Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews makes a nice salary, but he's not the guy. The head guy has to take that. He gets the credit when they win. He gets the lion's share of the credit he takes, so he has to take the brunt of the stuff when they lose. I will say this, I looked at when he walked off the field at halftime. I like how they said, look, Lamar is looking at this like, hey, we got a chance in this. You want your leaders to be composed like that. He came out, put the team in position to win, but you still can't. Where are they if they don't have those 2 turnovers? So I don't agree with those was like, hey, it didn't come in the outcome. It did. That's what ended up putting them back, put them in a deeper hole. But they got that drive that set them up for points. He even said that in the presser. That put us in bad position. The pick, you just can't have no pick like that. Like, I can see it if it's a certain play, but sometimes you got to check it down, or sometimes take off and run with it. But no, he has to eliminate the turnovers and cut those down. I don't think with him being 28. The only thing I will say is this: he has a lot of athleticism. I've heard people say that he's not going to be the same weapon when he starts to lose some athleticism. I don't fully agree with that because now we're getting the way he was making the plays. He was making plays downfield and being able to push the ball. He was making, for the most part, accurate throws. And I know people say, hey, I think it's nitpicking to say that last throw was like, it could have been better. They hit him in the breadbasket. They hit him in the breadbasket right in the hands, and he bobbled and dropped it. You can't, in that type of situation rolling out, every throw can be better, but my goodness, he had a chance to make it. So I'm giving Lamar definitely his fair share of the blame. I think that they're comparing them because of the MVPs. They're comparing them, obviously, different players. Peyton Manning, they're doing the comparison. It's like, hey, look at Peyton's early lack of playoff success, and he got it later. Because my thing is, sometimes you got to keep knocking on the door and keep getting a bite at the apple until you eventually, get through. And I feel like I'm confident for what I'm seeing, the better performance. I think that he can make it. I know, obviously, it's going to suck that Derrick Henry will be a year older. At some point, he's going to come out, and it's not going to be the same guy. But I think it should be enough next year. I think not having Zay Flowers was something that's the other thing. Keep in mind, he's doing this with the backup guys. He's doing it with guys like, but guys like Tylen Wallace, who's more of a special teamer, fourth receiver. He is from Fort Worth, by the way. And, he came out and made some big plays. So it's just like, I think if you get your guys, at least your main guys, you got your Zay Flowers, I want to say Bateman has stepped up. I think they can get it done. It's just the only thing is, like you said, Coach, you got to take advantage of those opportunities because the Bengals are coming back. The Bills aren't going anywhere. The Chiefs look like they're getting ready to three-peat. It's the AFC is a gauntlet. And I will say that one thing that did affect them in this one, home field, that bad start, that loss to the Raiders, those things like that.
Yeah, they lost to the Raiders, they lost to the Browns, and that's the thing. And their kicking game, again, they had reliable. That guy the kicker was like on a Hall of Fame trajectory off this year. I don't know if they're going to bring him back next year. Andrews also let you down. In fact, Payne, he asked the question in the chat: who do you find most responsible for the loss, whether it be Lamar or Andrews? I got to put that on Andrews. I mean, you ask a quarterback to do is put your team in a position to win. Again, the turnovers certainly hurt early, but again, they had a huge big second half.
The fumble and the drop.
Yeah. So I gotta put it on Andrews. I'd say maybe 60-40 Andrews to Lamar in that case. But what do you think about that? And then we'll get Shawnee's comments on it.
Before you go, Dante, real quick, I just want to give a quick shout out to our brother Payne, man. Appreciate the super chat.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
For, supporting us and being also a contributor to the Black Man Filter Network. So just want to make sure we shout that out. So appreciate that.
We got two of them tonight. So my man feeling generous. Cruises early. If Jaden Daniels win the Super Bowl, would he having his foot in the door Hall of Fame as a rookie? Would it be his to lose? We're gonna touch on that a little bit later because I got a question on that. I don't know about Hall of Fame. That might be a little bit too much because you got you got quarterbacks. Jim Plunkett's still not in the Hall of Fame yet. And he's got 2 of them. So but and in this question here, how do you guys feel about Michael Irvin saying that all the playoff games should be in dome weather, so it shouldn't be a factor? Totally disagree. That's why you play the games. That's why you play the games. And
So
again,
you
know,
You fight for
especially
it.
if you're a northern team like Baltimore, you should definitely be able to secure that. So no, keep the weather as is. But having said that, though, I mean, a lot of these teams are building dome. I mean, Minnesota built a dome, so I think most future projects they're going to have either some sort of dome or some sort of advantages. Even the new stadium that they're building in Buffalo, it's not a dome, but they got it in such a way where I guess you don't have to go in. The weather won't be as much of a factor. So it's either going to be a partial dome or something that they're building anyway. So that might be inevitable the more I think about it. And then from CJ Wilkins, again, thank you for being here with us tonight. If Washington beats Philadelphia on Sunday, does Jaden Daniels have the greatest rookie season for a quarterback in NFL history? Again, we're going to tackle some of that. We'll tie that in with our Payne's question as we go there. But let's get Shawnee in on this. We'll talk about the Kansas City. Is Kansas City getting? Are they buying off the refs? That'll be the next segment we'll tackle after that. But Shawnee, go on this game. What your thoughts on it again and Lamar's future?
Well, first, Mark Andrews, you're going to have to show up and answer some questions to the media, man,
Thank you.
because I understand that, it's hard loss, because of everybody going to talk about the final play. But what's happening, your teammates are having to answer these questions because they can't ask you. So now they have to kind of answer questions on your behalf. And it's kind of, Lamar's already going to take pretty much every dart because he's a quarterback. And even darts that was meant for you, he's going to take those just because he's the quarterback. Remember, those two was drafted together. They've been with each other since they've been in the NFL in 2018. So Lamar's definitely. I don't know if y'all saw a clip, but after Andrews, had that drop, Lamar was one of the first ones to go talk to him on the bench. So he's always gonna have Andrews back. So just make sure you have his back. Stand up in front and answer the questions. To me, it was a drop. It was a unfortunate play, but it happens. You've seen crucial drops like that. Knowing Lamar, he probably would have put that more on a rope to make it an easy catch for his tight end. But it still hit him in the stomach area. Andrews will catch that 10 out of 10 times. It's just this 11th time he dropped it. So, it happens. No different than baseball when look at Aaron Judge. What happened? I still, man, watching that thing, man. I don't know. That one error by Judge led to 5 runs. But that's a different sport. But going to Lamar, I don't really know what to say about because in this case with Lamar, the Ravens have gave him everything that he needed. And yet we are another postseason talking about, looking at the Ravens, outside the playoffs or early exit from the playoffs. And I believe the 3 wins that he had with the Ravens include, they were all up versus like kind of like, I mean, last year was a rookie quarterback when he beat the Texans. The QBs, I can't remember exactly the 3 wins he had, but it wasn't QBs on his level. They were like lower level QBs.
Right.
And then once he played against QBs on his level, outside the one where they had the number 1 seed and they lost to Tennessee the first game.
Right.
But that's when his team lost. I mean, pretty much what you saw from Josh Allen was pretty much the thing that you hear from coaches pretty much tell the QBs don't lose the game. Josh Allen didn't play a bad game, but he didn't play a great game, but he damn sure didn't play a bad game neither. He just protected the football. And that's all he was doing. It's pretty much what the playoff run that the Chiefs did last year. Like Mahomes wasn't lighting nobody up. He just protected the football. That's exactly what Allen did. as soon as they got in the red zone for the most part, he ran the ball in. And with Jackson, even though he led them to like this 80+ yard potential game time drive, he still had his miscues. The fumble that he had, the interception was a bad interception. I don't know if that was just a miscommunication between him and receiver, or it was just a bad throw, period. But he made the mistakes and the Bills capitalized on it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like thinking to myself, like, okay, what more? Because we talking about his window. What more can the Ravens do? I mean, I remember there was a time where the first time he had an early playoff exit is because Lamar didn't have enough weapons, in particular receiving weapons. Ravens gave him that. Every year they kept, giving him more and more receiving weapons. Last year it was, they got too pass happy. So now that they, kind of put the onus more on the offensive coordinator. Why are you passing the ball so much? You had the number one rushing offense in the NFL. This was prior to Derrick Henry. This year, he pretty much had even though he had a better record last year, I believe his offense was more dangerous this year. Now, Zay Flowers didn't play, but it was an extreme because, okay, now you got Derrick Henry. We expect you to run the ball now. Run the ball. Early in the game, Buffalo was kind of containing Henry. But then second half, Henry was unleashed.
Mm-hmm.
But, like I say, they did a 82-yard, drive, but it's like, okay, now we talking, next day is back. Okay, the Ravens are out the playoffs, and we asking the question, what now? What now with Lamar, and all that? And I brought up the point in social media that this game, cause I can't remember the last time where basically number one and number two in the playoff runnings had each of their side, like each of their fan base, making a case for them who they believe will be MVP. And for the most part, it's pretty much 50-50, pretty much by the time the season ends, who's going to be MVP. I know the MVP already been decided. They're going to use their regular season work. That's already been decided. So whatever. But now these two players, these two QBs who are going head to head in the MVP award, they about to meet each other. Now they get a chance to celebrate on the grass. So whoever wins it, based on whoever the media decides to give the award to, the NFL fan base will be like, okay, say for example, if Josh Allen wins the MVP, but then he would have lost, in the game versus the dude who many believe should have been the MVP in Lamar Jackson,
right?
And you lose to him, NFL fan base like, okay, yeah, you won the regular season MVP award by these dudes who voted for you. We don't believe you're the MVP, but you go on the award. But when y'all two settled it on the grass, you lost. And who we believe is the true MVP. And but now it's flipped. So it's that's why I was saying, like, yeah, whoever comes the MVP in the regular season, this game was going to be determining, like, in the fan base, who is the true MVP, who leads their team to victory in this huge momentum game. And now, because many believe that the winner of this game is actually going to determine the winner who goes on to the Super Bowl. Because they believe both of them. The only reason I could see the Chiefs being the favorite versus if the Ravens or the Bills is 100% Patrick Mahomes. That's it. But both of them have. The Ravens have a better offense than the Chiefs. The Bills, I don't know, because the Bills are pretty much Josh Allen and James Cook. And then,
but even with the Chiefs, it's hard to tell because everyone seems to elevate. Like we're getting like Travis Kelce had like an average year, and then all of a sudden he comes to playoff Kelce, and like anything you throw at him, he catches. So it's like some of these guys, it's like, do they have that ability
Well,
in
it's
the
really
big
only
games
Patrick
to elevate?
Mahomes and Kelsey elevate because still the receivers.
Well, yeah,
even
but
though
it's
they
still.
have
I
DeAndre
mean,
Hopkins,
Well, offensive
the game last
defense has
year
been
in
pretty consistent.
Baltimore, Kelsey was catching everything at his shoelaces.
Kelsey
I
elevates.
mean,
But
yeah.
but fellas, listen. Football is it's a 4-game cycle, and I'll say this as far as with the turnovers in any quarterback. If you play 4 games, quarterback turn the ball over in any game, you're gonna lose 3 out of the 4 games. In all my years of coaching, all my years of playing, it doesn't matter. Now you can have a fumble by running back, receiver, whoever, but you still can win the game. But if the quarterback turns the ball over, because that's more likely
Except
to
for
get
you,
a
the
pick
Texans.
6. You know, a quarterback throw a pick 6, it's over.
Okay, so
But-
then who do you put on? So the question I was asked earlier, who's more? You put more blame, Mark Andrews or Lamar for the loss?
If you look at the tape of Mark Andrews, listen, all pro, could have caught the ball. He never closed his hands, so you got to look at the tape. He didn't even let the other hand touch the ball. So to me, now he's disappeared. That don't make no sense if you're a football player. I don't give a damn what team you played on, little league, high school, college.
He got a
Your
man up to that.
teammate disappear. You be like, man, what's going on? Come on, man. Come on, Shiny, man. You tell me your other receiver didn't show up in practice. You looking for him like, man, who are you at? He ain't
They
answering your
answering
phone
your
calls.
questions now.
He ain't answered your phone calls or nothing. Come on, man.
But
Which I
we
understand
have
the
one.
dude is heartbroken, but you got to step up
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
don't want.
But
your
we do have
teammates
one
to-
optimistic. Again, shout out to C.J. Wilkins. He is ultra confident. He's saying we watch basically. My man Jassy is going to win 3 out of the next 6 Super Bowls. So he is definitely
wouldn't say
optimistic
that.
about his game. All right, he's got another question here. So says the success of Saquon Barkley has put off the locker room chemistry with AJ Brown, according to reports. Do y'all think Zay Flowers will experience the same thing with Derrick Henry?
No.
No,
I don't think so. And again,
Stop
winning seems to solve any
Cure everything.
cultural. Yeah,
No,
Yeah,
man.
if Jerry and Jimmy can get along for them Super Bowls, then yeah, Kim.
If
I think
anything,
that
that's
whole
a
locker
detriment
room
to AJ
chemistry thing.
Brown.
I think it's one of the most overblown things in sports.
Hype
I mean,
in
look, I grew up
Until it's not.
in the 70s with the Yankees. The Bronx is burning, right? You had George Steinbrenner, Reggie Jackson, and Thurman Munson, and Billy Martin, and they won back-to-back championships. So I don't buy that locker room chemistry stuff. You're either gonna competent, you're gonna show up to play when you need to play, and you're gonna win it, or you don't. But let's move on to this, and so we can tackle some of these questions, and we still got to talk about the college championship game as well. So again, Kansas City, Houston put up a good effort, a good fight in the game, but Kansas City, as they've been doing all year, they find a way to win. However, not without controversy, where a lot of folks scorch earth again. He's going off saying, paying off the refs. There's an infamous picture going around of Patrick Mahomes hugging one of the referees.
Yeah, hug the rest.
So the question is, again, are the refs? I mean, shout out to them. Again, this is Patrick Mahomes' 7th consecutive AFC championship, 4 Super Bowl appearances, 3
Never lost in the
championships.
divisional round.
Correct. So again, is there? Do you find about now? Again, some of those calls, the roughing call. Again, when they played it again, he got hit on the shoulder. He wasn't hitting the head. But the way I'm looking at this, it's like if you on that level, we grew up with the Jordan rules, right? And we look, and who can forget Tom Brady with the tuck rule? How many times were the Ravens knocking on the door to knock off Tom Brady, but then the refs gave him an advantageous call of some kind? So does this just go with the territory of when you're like in that GOAT level status? Do the referees look at you a little bit different, and they are going to give you the benefit of the doubt when it comes to a close call like that? Are the refs essentially handing the Kansas City, which it seems to be the claim right now, are they being handed the opportunity to win a third championship and three-peat, or is it that's just football? I mean, how often are we going to argue over whether when MJ back in the day or Tom Brady? What do you guys say about this? Obviously, BMU's not happy about the calls either. So what do you think? Let's start with the coach. I know you got a fight with refs. I'm sure you've had your tirades on the sideline here and there. So what do you think? Is Kansas City, are they getting hooked up here, or is this just overblown? It just happens, especially when you're of the status of a Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, listen, man. The referees are the same age as Andy Reid, so they've been around. It's Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is the golden boy. I think Kansas City playing solid ball. Like again, he's not turning the ball over. That's his experience. And the thing I like about Kansas City that has no other team has is that Kelsey is going. Listen, football's a long season. He's been in the league long, so they go play him in the last 9 games. He gonna play a 9-game season, and he gonna get his numbers up. I think he had almost 1,000 yards. Did he have 1,000 yards? A tight end having 1,000 yards is really unheard of. He's one of the main Pro Bowlers that can get
800 this year.
Okay, so you call it an off year, but you see he's already in the playoff. He's being consistent. They have a plethora of other receivers, right? All of them used to be a star at some point, so that's work. And all of them are willing to go for a championship. So that's another thing. And Andy Reid is a player's coach. He let the players figure that stuff out. He ain't a dictator coach. Patrick Mahomes, he's accurate. He can run the ball just enough. And, but the referees go give him a couple of non-calls, a couple of calls. They're going to do that.
Yeah, they're running out of bounds. So folks already saying he kind of sold it going out of bounds. He did. He kind of flopped the football version of a flop. In the
it's a whole.
But hey, but is that greatness? Is that taking advantage, turning over every stone to get an advantage?
No, it's not taking advantage. But it's part of the NFL mantra, man. The NFL is a betting game. What are you talking about? It's a money game. So it is what it is. He can make history. I believe they can do it. But Buffalo is one of those teams right now, the way they playing, that can knock them off if Patrick Mahomes come in there and don't have his best game. Patrick Mahomes going to have a 304 touchdown game in order to go to the Super Bowl.
Dante, what do you think? So, Chiefs, are they getting hooked up? The refs, what's your take? What's your take on this?
He definitely gets some favoritism, because I will say the play where Lamar Jackson didn't get the hit out of bounds with Patrick, you definitely give it, because he is looked at as the face of the league. Whereas Lamar, he doesn't get, as great as he's been, doesn't get quite as much love as he can from the media. So he does get preferential treatment at times, for sure. What I will say about the officiating, did the refs give up 8 sacks? Like, did the Texans make some mistakes that, they did not play a perfect game? We saw that at the beginning of the game, and as soon as I saw that, I was just like, you're not gonna be able to win this game with stuff like that off the rip. Like, you can't gift wrap them points. So it's just like, I do hear what people are saying, but I think it's more so, I need people to say this. I need you to look at yourself and look at it as, are you just sick of the Chiefs? Or do you have Chiefs fatigue because they keep winning? Because we heard this same thing with this team up with the New England Patriots and Tom Brady. Even me, you just get tired of seeing them win, and now they're winning in a boring way. Like, if we look at it, when you talk about numbers and stats, Patrick Mahomes has not put up Patrick Mahomes numbers in the last 2 seasons. And it's starting to think that, to sum up, is he slipping? Is it because of the weapons? Is it because his tight end is 35? He may act all youthful, but he is 35, so he's not no spring chicken. Something's up there. But as far as winning, I do think they are going to three-peat. I will say this. If Buffalo can find a way to beat them, then the winner is coming in the AFC. The AFC is a stronger conference. I'm not saying it's back in the days where the NFC went on that long run, but if you look at the quarterbacks in the AFC and what you have to go through versus what you have to do in the NFC, it's advantage AFC to come out of that gauntlet and then to go to the Super Bowl. So I think that's going to be real interesting to see. But I mean, I think people gonna have to deal with the Chiefs until they can knock them off.
Shout out to Boomer. I'm sorry, I called him Boomer. Marriage, politics, and sport are pain. Again, how about running the ball 3 times at the 3-yard line? Yeah, you got to gotta mix up the offense a little bit more as well. I mean, the game was there to be had. But part of it too is I think we saw it with Baltimore last year. And one thing about Kansas City, like I said, they can get away with not playing perfectly and still find a way to win and have you playing, doing things unexpectedly. Like Baltimore last year, the personal fouls with Zay Flowers and whatnot in the
Fumble at
game.
the goal
So
line.
again, yeah, a lot of times they make you, because you think I got to beat the Chiefs. You play out of your element. You do things. Again, Mark Andrews probably catches that ball. If it's any other team, he may catch that ball 10 times. You just never know when it's gonna when it's gonna show up. So yeah, I put it more on it's just Kansas City just being great, and they take advantage of everything. Be Bill Belichick. We talk about Deflategate. We talk about every advantage that they could get to try to win some of these games, and I don't think they're giving any of those Super Bowls back. And so yeah, but Shawnee, what do you think on what do you think on this? Are the Chiefs, are they are they getting bailed out by the refs? What do you think was going on here?
Appreciate for CJ for the super chat, and I guess
Shout
let
out
me
to you,
just
man. Appreciate it. Yep.
speak from the resident Texans fan in the group. Me personally, I like watching great teams. I don't hate a team because you watch them in the midst of their greatness. If they winning, hell, they're a good team. They winning. As far as the Chiefs, I think it is something as far as when the players, when before they even enter the game, especially a big game versus the Chiefs, in particular in the playoffs, they have to wrap their minds around. They literally have to play a perfect game.
Mhm.
It's not the fact that it's the Chiefs are going to make minimum mistakes. They are coming in there thinking about the referees as well. The Texans are not the only team that have to think about them when they going into, because a lot of times the Chiefs are hosting the game and they have to think about that. So as a Texans fan, do I blame the refs for the loss versus the Chiefs? No. But a lot of times a lot of times people will, if they're not a fan of the team that was on the other side of the cause, they want to paint the narrative that, well, you should have did this and this and this and this and this instead of have to worry about the cause. But if it was their team that was getting affected by the cause, then it's a completely different narrative coming from them. Me, I fully understand the ups and flows of a football game. I don't expect a team to execute every single play. I understand there's a team on the other side of football, the defense side of the ball, who gets paid just as much as the offensive side of the ball, who is designed to stop them. And with that, when there's potential turnovers or maybe a back and forth game, and you're just waiting for the other team to crack. In this particular game, it was a defensive battle for the most part, and Kansas City was not blowing the socks off of Houston and vice versa. They was going, the defense was showing up on both ends. And it just so happened that the two controversial calls actually led to 10 points for KC.
Mhm.
The other one, the Will Anderson, I guess, I don't know what you call it, the helmet to the face, whatever, you
Alleged.
know, the one that happened in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That led to him being a 6-3 game. That was early in the game. Yeah, that was early. You hate to see that, but it's still a whole lot of football left.
I hear it. I
That
hear it.
the big one was, people forget, it was a 12-13 game at the time. It would have been tied up, but Houston was having a kicker issues. All of a sudden,
Yep.
Fairbairn just could not kick the ball. He missed 3 field goals. This dude can hit a 50-yarder like he was kicking from the 20-yard line. But all of a sudden, he chooses that game just to miss everything. I don't know if it was the weather,
It's yeah.
but I don't know. So 12-13, and they was pretty much holding, keeping KC at bay for the most part until I remember this play. Mahomes is definitely trying to manipulate the rules because right now the quarterback's got a force field around them. A defensive player can't touch them at all. I remember that one play where he looked like he was about to go out of bounds, but also he started kind of tightrope to the sideline, trying to kind of slow down to force him a late hit. But on this particular play with the call, he was running around scrambling, running around. He became a runner. And then when he was surrounded by Houston defenders, all of a sudden he slides. Like he all of a sudden, like it's too late, but he slides. And then it don't help that the two players hit each other. They collided with each other and not really a face mask hit Mahomes' head. But the NFL basically they look like if it looks like contact to the head of a quarterback, they're gonna throw the flag. And the NFL is always gonna back their referees, so there's really nothing you could do about it.
Right.
But that pretty much put the clincher in because KC went and scored on that drive and extended their drive. And like I say, the game was a back and forth defensive battle. So, yeah, do I believe that call? Houston had the opportunity. Like I say, they field goal kicker just could not kick a field goal. But in that game, when it's a tight game and literally every play matters, and then the Chiefs get the benefit of a call that allows them to continue their drive, in which they ultimately scored a touchdown. Yes, it's going to be for the opposing fan base to be like, well, damn, man, it's like it's like the inevitable. You know it's going to happen at some point in that game. You hope it happens early in the game, but if it happens and it's a close battle like this game was, and it happens like late in the third quarter, and it's a momentum changer, you be like, well, damn. You just know it's going to happen. So it's hard to sit here and say like, man, that call was not the reason that the Texans lost. But you understand because it was such a close battle at the time. Like I said, it was 12-13. It was a huge push for KC. And, so I think for the longest, that's probably the best because pretty much, I don't know if y'all remember the 2020 playoff game between the Texans and the Chiefs. That's when the Texans went off and had a 24-0 lead, and all of a sudden the defense gave up 7 straight touchdown possessions. That's when Washington was a quarterback. So that's what you was hearing about with KC. So usually they don't fare well because they only beat the Chiefs once in the Mahomes era. But this game looked like it was, okay, we had a chance, but that call definitely just took out the air from the Texas fan base.
No doubt. Yeah, but I think it just boils down to, again, when you're great, you get favored like that.
He definitely get perfect because don't interrupt you, Mr. Bennett, but he definitely gets the benefit of the calls because if you remember during the Commanders and Lions games, Goff took a shot right after he threw that interception, and then they was
they didn't come. But they wouldn't change. They would still have possession. It just would have been 15 yards. They wouldn't have lost the possession. But you're right. But they definitely missed.
If that would have happened to Mahomes, they would have said, "Nah, get the ball back to the Chiefs."
Stays with Kansas City. Now you may have something to say, but certainly I want to go back to, because it's been requested again. Shout out to R. Payne, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Go check him out on his site as well, and also from CJ. So again, we got to go back and talk about Jaden Daniels. So again, the guy's going on the road, beat Tampa Bay at home, upset the number 1 seed at home. Now they're going to Philly, which is a very familiar place. Last time they won, I know Hurts got hurt in that game, whatever, in Washington. He came back and won it. But he has as good a shot of winning that game and going to the Super Bowl. So first question again, if Jaden Daniels wins the Super Bowl, so our Payne needs to be even more optimistic. Let's get past Sunday, but I'll entertain the question. If he wins the Super Bowl, would he get a foot in the door as far as the Football Hall of Fame as a rookie? All right. And then CJ had asked, if Washington beats Philly on Sunday, does Jaden Daniels have the greatest rookie season for a quarterback in NFL history? I would have to say yes. I can't recall a rookie quarterback going to the Super Bowl. I'm going all the way back in history trying to find one. I can't think of one off the top. I know second-year quarterbacks that have done it, but not rookies that have done that. So he'll definitely have the greatest rookie season of all time, certainly at the QB position. Hall of Fame, I would say no, because I think Hall of Fame to me is about being great, not good. but great over a period of time. And so he can get there even if he wins it. And like I said, you got quarterbacks. Jim Plunkett's got 2 Super Bowl wins. Is not in Hall of Fame. A lot of quarterbacks have a Super Bowl victory. Not in the Hall of Fame. Eli. Now again, I think Eli's going to get in. I don't think he'll get in on first ballot.
He should not get in first ballot. He is not a first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at the latter half of his career, it was pretty bad. So. So I think that I think it'd be premature. But what do you guys think, Coach? What do you think about Jaden? Let's say he runs the table. What does this say about him? And I'll even throw another scenario in there. What is the greater achievement, the greater one? If Patrick Mahomes three-peats or Jaden Daniels wins the Super Bowl as a rookie, which is the greater of those? And let's go around.
Okay, so for the first question with Jaden Daniels, if he runs the table, win the Super Bowl, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. If he doesn't
first
get any
ballot,
yeah, he's first ballot. That's a feat never been done. So you got to, and the only thing he got to do is be 500 the rest of his career. He's good. He's locked in. Nobody's ever done it. So we talk about feats that nobody has ever done in the Super Bowl. He would end his career with a winning record. Now, if he goes 500, he'll end his career with a Super Bowl, a rookie year Super Bowl, and a winning record. So that's first ballot. You got Dan Marino, never won a Super Bowl. He just had yards.
That's true. No, absolutely. He went in the second year. Absolutely.
First ballot.
But
first
Hall of Fame first ballot.
First ballot. If he wins the Super Bowl.
So second question. All right, then you might have answered my second question then. The greater achievement, Mahomes three-peats, and I'll even put a caveat, let's say if he's the MVP, right? Three-peats and MVP, Jaden.
That's a no. Each time you add a little nugget on there, that's a no-brainer. Kansas City is the greatest accomplishment.
Okay, now I'm just asking because you just said that would be. You just said if Jaden Daniels wins the Super Bowl, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Of course, yes.
But you think that still trumps if Kansas City wins does a three-peat?
I didn't say that. I was agreeing with you. If he wins a three-peat, that's the greatest feat ever because nobody has done a three-peat.
But nobody's ever won a rookie Super Bowl either.
But he's a rookie, so he'll be a first ballot Hall of Fame. It's two different categories. The greatest feat would be.
I'm not saying he be the. I'm not saying he be the GOAT. I'm saying the greatest accomplishment. Just a moment.
And the greatest accomplishment. He would be the GOAT and the greatest accomplishment because Tom Brady was great, but he never done it. 15 years in the league, this man halfway through a career won 3 in a row. Could win a 4th if everybody come back. You know, because football is funny. It seemed like they had an off year, but they won the most games in the league. They just didn't put up the number.
But last year was even worse. You can make.
Y'all talking about Mahomes and Brady now, right?
Every 4 team that has the weapons that they got with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, that's the greatest duo, coach and quarterback duo in history already. We can see that.
Right.
But as far as the greatest feat, him winning the 3. As far as the first team Hall of Fame, of course, Jaden Daniels, man. Yeah, he had a 500 rest of his career. He had a winning career. You know, some quarterbacks played 17 years and had what?
I got you. All right, so let's pass around. So, Coach just dropped another nugget in there that I wasn't even considering. All right, so we got to add that to the occasion too. So, Dante, it's on you now. All right, if he win, all right. So if he wins, so again, I think he's mostly agreeing with our pain. If he wins, is he a Hall of Famer, regardless of what he does the rest of his career? And again, what is the greater feat? Him winning a Super Bowl as a rookie, or Patrick Mahomes three-peating? Which is the greater feat in your opinion?
That's easy for me because I hate that baseball's Hall of Fame standard is so high. But I feel like even in football, which I think does it right, even though in later years they have let some guys in, I was like, but everybody has those ones that she's like, hey, people debate. Absolutely not. If he wins the Super Bowl, he is a Commanders Ring of Honor guy. Immediately. He's immediately Ring of Honor, and he will never have to buy a meal again. He will forever be a legend in that. But the story will be like one of those where you see those they don't do them anymore. Those sports centuries. And you be like, hey, what happened? And then they kind of detail it. That's what it'll be like. It'll be like, hey, he didn't make the Hall, but his name will get posted when they nominate him. They're nice to that. Some guys will be like, hey, up for Hall of Fame nomination, and they'll say his name, but they'll be like, he had a great year. Just won the Super Bowl, then went down after that. But absolutely not. But I will say already, with beating a number one seed and everything he's done, he has one. He's on the upper echelon, probably best rookie quarterback seasons we ever seen as far as the team success. The stats might not be the same as some others, but he definitely had the team success and big throws. Like he was making big boy throws in that game. I'll say Patrick Mahomes winning 3 because this is the lightning in the bottle at one time if he does win the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes has had to done this through 3 playoff runs, and the playoff runs really take a toll on your body. Your season's ended in February. You're getting ready to start. You got to start back in like April, May. So it's like, no, I absolutely the 3-peat because it's something in the Super Bowl era we hadn't seen.
All right, now just to add on what Coach was saying, GOAT is he the GOAT if he wins 3? Brady's got 7. Brady's got 7. So is he the GOAT, even though he's got more?
For me, I would say just as far as the ability, he definitely in the conversation because from just looking at Daysoff, when I was basically full football watching age when Brady won the first one. They didn't win that because of him. They could have gave that to Lawyer Malloy. They could have gave that to Ty Law. They could have gave that to a lot of different guys. He was not the impressive guy at that time. From day one, Mahomes has been impressive. So you go and look at the stats, the regular season stats, the playoff stats. When you see it, it's like they're here because of him. You had a quarterback getting you to the playoffs. He immediately elevated them and 7 straight conference championships. So that because even Montana's still in the conversation, even though Brady has more, even with a loss. I think you lost once, but the other times you have been the guy that's made it done. He has a legitimate case, and I would say, obviously after this one, Hall of Fame already, and yeah, he's in that GOAT conversation, especially with the third ring. I felt it already from the eye test that it's like, hey, that guy can do things that other quarterbacks could never do.
But
hang on, we had. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
Who'd you say would be your number 1 again? Your all-time quarterback? Who'd you say?
I mean,
who's the GOAT? Right. So if he wins if he 3-peats, who's the GOAT?
I mean, my thing is, I'm confident to say that Mahomes is the GOAT if he wins his 3-peat because I don't think even if he doesn't win a 4, it's not going to stop now. He's getting ready. He's not in his 30s yet. And what we've seen from him, especially if he gets some development from Xavier Worthy, a guy that's super lightning fast, that's going to bring the big play back. But that guy's just got to develop. I mean, eventually you're going to move on from Kelsey. And I think that's the thing that's going to really put him up there. When at the end of his career, Brady had Gronk, who is one of the greatest tight ends we've ever seen. Better. I know what's the name has better numbers, but he's better than Kelsey. Just go and look at it. He's better because he played both sides. And I know you can appreciate that, Coach Burke. He put that hand in the ground. He blocked people like physically, like the true old-fashioned tight end. So it's just like I feel like he had that guy at the end. My thing is he had him at the beginning. Who can Mahomes elevate to that level? But my thing is Mahomes, everybody say, hey, Tyreek Hill, he's going to drop off. Yeah, the numbers drop off with the winning stadium. He's going to elevate somebody else to that level, and that's going to be his story to be like, no matter who he played with, he won. He won ugly. He won pretty. I think he has a legitimate case. To say absolutely, hey, unequivocally over everyone, it's more of a projection. But my gosh, you got to have a conversation.
So who would be your number 1?
Man, Mahomes. I'm about to bring
Mahomes.
Okay, Mahomes.
All right, so let's get Shawnee in. We got like 10 minutes left in the show. Again, we got to touch on the college. So again, Shawnee, close us out. If Daniels wins, is he a Hall of Famer? First ballot Hall of Famer, regardless of what he does. What's the greater feat? Him winning as a rookie or Mahomes 3-peating? And if Mahomes does 3-peat, is he the GOAT?
Well, question 1 is Jaden Daniels going to the Super Bowl? If he wins Super Bowl, will he be a Hall of Famer? No. If anything, they'll just take the football that he won it with and put that in the Hall of Fame. He got approved a little bit more. He just had a
I agree.
basically
Yeah.
right. It's just a lightning in a bottle for 1 year. Now, is it a greater feat than if Mahomes win his third? I will say yes, only because you never would expect a rookie to come because eventually he's going to have to meet these other established NFL QBs and he beat them to win the Super Bowl. So Mahomes, no one ever thought they'll win 3 in a row, but you damn sure didn't think a rookie quarterback will come. Because before the postseason, to me, Jalen Daniels was almost like no different than how CJ Stroud was being talked
and
about last
the
year.
Patriots. I mean,
Before the playoffs, they both had like a lot of tension. Hell, even when Dak rookie season, because remember he had an 11-game win streak, and it took a hell of a throw by Aaron Rodgers to knock him out. So we've seen these rookie QBs come and take the NFL by storm that first season. But what Daniels is doing different than the other two names I mentioned, he's having a long playoff run. Now, who is my GOAT between Mahomes and Brady?
assuming he's got so many three-peats. That's the
It's,
caveat.
it's easy to me. It's Brady. No, Mahomes, yes, no quarterback has won 3-peat. Brady, no quarterback has won 7 Super Bowls. You can take away the first one if you want to. Okay, that's 6, and he won it with a second team.
Yeah.
Mahomes, I was just looking at Mahomes had and hell, I'm just saying Brady won 7. He damn near won 10. 2 of them was a miracle catch by the Giants that he would have had 9. So yeah, okay, you won 3, but still, if Mahomes win his third in a row, which is a great feat, hell, you still thinking, damn, he got 4 more just to catch Brady. So, and if you just go into like, I know that with Mahomes, that 2020 season, he had explosive numbers because he had over 5,200 passing yards and 41 touchdowns. What people forget, Brady, they pretty much would have been the only undefeated team in NFL history wasn't for that catch by who was it? Who was that receiver from the Giants?
Oh yeah.
Was it Manningham?
No.
Manningham. No, David Tyree.
No, that was the first one. That was the first one.
Tyree.
Yeah, it was Manningham. The second one
was Manningham.
Yeah.
The second was Manningham.
So yeah, but that season Brady threw 4,800 yards and 50 touchdowns. With him that combo, that's probably the most dangerous combos I've ever seen in NFL history. Maybe it was before you got to go back into football days, the Jerry Rice and Montana, but that Ross Brady combo, oh hell, that was dangerous. And then the dude went on in 2021 in Tampa Bay. He goes on, now he well into his 40s. He throws 5,300 yards and 43 touchdowns. This is Brady. I'm looking at it's just Brady. I mean, and with Mahomes, like I say, if he goes on and win a 3-peat, that's great. That's NFL, history, blockbuster history in the making. But with Mahomes, it's like Mahomes is at this level by himself. Everybody else is below him, trying to get up to him. With Brady, there was another dude who was just right below him, and they just kept bumping their heads against each other. But Brady always seemed to come out on top, and that was Peyton Manning.
I'll say that on this one. The only thing with that is he's got something they're trying to get to that level. He keeps pushing them down.
Yeah,
that's the one thing.
But even if, as far as you looking at the total NFL as a whole, we don't look at nobody as Mahomes equal right now.
No, he's on his own tier. He's on
his own tier. With Brady, Manning was in his tier, but it's just they kept meeting each other. Brady kept defeating, so it kind of gave Brady the edge. Because many people believe Peyton Manning was the greatest regular season quarterback of all time. He just kept running into Brady. So, that's why I know, I guess everybody's caught up in the moment with Mahomes and because he's the current.
But there's a lot. Look, there's a lot of history that could potentially be made. Let's just real quick let's just talk about who you got. All right, so the NFC and AFC championship games this weekend. Who's going to the Super Bowl? Who's your Super Bowl pick? We'll deal with who wins the Super Bowl later on. But again, who's going to the Super Bowl next week? Coach, go.
Well, since Notre Dame let me down, I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna go against our grade again. I'm gonna say Buffalo and Washington. Buffalo and Washington. It's gonna be totally
Buffalo and
off
Washington. All righty. Shawnee, who goes to Super Bowl?
I have Buffalo and Philly. I think Washington, they're gonna have a hard time stopping Philly's run defense. I'm surprised the Lions didn't run the ball more against them.
Dante.
Kansas City and I don't care. No, just say Kansas City and the Eagles. Kansas City and the Eagles.
Don't be a hater. Don't be a hater.
I think the Eagles. I think Barkley is going to be too much. Barkley is going to be too much for Washington.
Yeah, I'm picking. I like the story. I mean, Kansas City and in Washington. I mean, I think that'd be one of the greatest stories and matchups. You know, so much on the line there. History on both sides. Two African American quarterbacks going at it in the Super Bowl. So I mean, that to me, that's a great story. I mean, you're gonna get at least one regardless, right? From between the Eagles and the in Washington, but I think that would be a great story. And Kansas City chasing history. I said it all year at the beginning of the year. I picked Kansas City to three-peat. I picked them against the field, and so I gotta ride that out to the end. But last, as we come to the end of the show, obviously we had with so much of the football, we had the college championship. I thought that game was going to be a blowout. You know, I thought certainly Ohio State was well in command. I give credit to Notre Dame for staying in the fight. But again, too many mistakes. Team let them down, especially at the end. Field goal kicker let them down. But that last play is almost unforgivable, though. You rush everybody. You got the best wide receiver in the country, as I think he's a freshman. True freshman, but he's already like the best. He might go number one in a couple years or something like that. You leave him 1-on-1, and that's basically the ball game. You did so much to fight back into me, so I really felt bad for Freeman. I thought he didn't get the bullets out of his head. Some of his players didn't step up when they needed to. I think that one guy who had the penalty, I don't know, what was it, a roughing penalty that he had?
It was after the whistle. It was after the whistle. Then he pushed.
Yeah, and then he pushed. Yeah, so that hurt because that definitely took But again, they still got it down to a one-score game. Third down, third and long, 3rd and 10.
Yeah. You
send everybody, but you leave that guy 1-on-1, and that was the ball game. So, but again, shout out to Freeman. I definitely thought he acquitted himself well with this team. It was definitely looking very bad there. That it was going to be just a walkthrough, similar to what Georgia did to who they played Georgia a couple years ago. They blew somebody out. I think it was one of those Pac-10 teams that might have been Oregon or something like that. But I thought they did a good job. But again, any thoughts on the game outside? I thought that was the game right there. But what did you guys think of the game overall? But it definitely,
I just had a question over the game. Did y'all agree with the decision that Freeman made to go for the field goal instead of going to the touchdown for that fourth? Because I understand. I guess I understand the in-game logic of it because remember they was down 16. Wasn't
yeah.
It? No, they was
down
16.
They were down 16.
So you put
right.
the pressure on yourself to score a touchdown and convert two 2-point conversions. When I guess when you do the field goal, now all you gotta do is just score a touchdown. But so I understand that, but to me, it's like I don't really understand what good those 3 points at that time would have really made. They ultimately end up getting the two possessions that they would have scored both of their touchdown. But did y'all agree with that call, like going for the 3, which they missed, and going instead of the touchdown because 4th down? Because I heard that Ohio State has a good rush defense in the red zone. And you saw that versus Texas. Really, and I think it's starting to get into the opponent's heads. And you say, we ain't going to try this. And then he just went for the field goal. So what do y'all think?
I agree with it.
I
Just
didn't
because
love it. I didn't love it at the time.
Breaking
But
up,
again, the
Dante.
defense stood up and they were able to get they were able to force the 3-and-out on the next possession. So it worked out. But it definitely could have went wrong the other way. I probably would have, but I think it was like 4th and long, right? I mean, it wasn't like if it was 4th and short, I'd say okay, let's go
No,
for
it
it. But
was
I think it
fourth.
was
It was
fourth.
fourth on the 1 yard line. That was on the one. You talking about
For
that?
that field goal
Yeah,
attempt?
that was
No,
on
I
the
was
one
like,
because the quarterback had a chance to go into the end zone, but I think he got tripped up. And then they stopped him. They was on the 2 yard line, and they stopped him. And then they decided to go for a field goal because it was a short field goal. It was a very short
Yeah,
field
it was
goal.
a
He
very short
still
field goal.
doinked
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
yeah,
I probably still would have went for it in that situation. Yeah, I didn't think the get taking 3 points off the board. That was going to make a difference because you still need 2 touchdowns basically, right?
Exactly.
yeah.
So
down by 16, you at the 2 yard line. You at the one, you gotta get that touchdown. You know what I'm saying? That's something you have to do, even if you got to call timeout, man. Come up with your best play, man. We need this touchdown. But
yeah.
Ohio State, to me, man, real quick, they just punked them after that first drive. They just
And again, we got to
they
go back to the Texas game, right? They said they're very tough inside the red zone, inside the 10. You saw with Texas, they had the picks, they had the fumble recovery for a touchdown going the other way. So they're very tough inside. And really, the only time they were effective outside that first drive of the first quarter, they were only effective going to that wide receiver for Notre Dame. He was balling out.
He did a good job on him during the game until that last play.
Yeah, so he stepped up big, but anything compressed in, I don't think they had the physicality to run the ball and to really make any headway against that Ohio State defense. So again, certainly the outcome I didn't think was going to be in doubt, but I thought it was certainly a much more entertaining game than I thought it was going to be. But Dante, any further thoughts on the game?
No, I was happy that they played a little bit better because it was supposed to be such a blowout. I'm glad they Notre Dame stepped up, and it's just like they just need to look at that game just like Texas needs to look at it and say, hey, you need more. And I would say Notre Dame, which you're not used to, they need more offense. They need a quarterback. They got a receiver. They need more explosion. I mean, hopefully they can stay out of Texas, getting those guys like the receiver. He was from State White House. He's from Austin. And it's just like, God, they just need more of that. And now the portal is closed. But when that second portal opens, I wouldn't be surprised if you see some guys. Now, I hope it's tough for Notre Dame because of the academic standards to kind of pluck some guys. But, hats off to Ohio State. Their roster was made to win a championship with all the recruits they had and the transfer portal, and they actually pulled it off. So,
$20 million. That's a lot to. That's a lot of coin to play with, but we're at the end of the show, so we can certainly go around with our final comments. Certainly to close out the show. So, Shawnee, you wanna what you got on your mind?
My final thoughts are basically the. Well, no. My final thought is Eric Bieniemy. Once again,
we never got to that.
We're going through another NFL offseason so far that we have not heard anything about Eric Bieniemy. And I remember during his days during the Chiefs, and when they had that high-powered offense, people was like, because normally if there's an offensive coordinator and having a high-powered offense, normally during the offseason, they have to fight off head coaching opportunities with a stick. Fight him off. You saw that with Ben Johnson this year. He had to decline and say, I'm coming back for Detroit for one more year. But Bieniemy, he never could get that head coaching job. So we all know he took a lateral basically to Washington. But then after one season, he was let go. And then he was also assistant head coach and offensive coordinator for UCLA. After one season, he was let go. And the thing now is both of those two spots that he stopped at, their offense, Washington offense was worse than the previous season. UCLA offense, what is it? It's like 133 FBS schools. UCLA total offense finished at 118. Now, this great offensive mind that we was wanting to get a head coaching job, I understand you may not have the best talent with you, but I'm not expecting your offenses to end up at the bottom of the crater like this. So now reports are he's just going to be an offensive analyst for the Washington Huskies. So now it's like he's going down, down, down. And I'm like, maybe there was something in those interviews that the NFL brass, as far as the teams and they respective management, was seeing that we were obviously not seeing because we're not in them rooms. That the reason why they was not giving the enemy, a head coaching job. So I don't know.
Yeah, like I said that window is short, and and usually these days they pick up the hot OC or DC. They pick them up pretty quickly. So the fact that he was around for a while, yeah, that might have been telling then. Dante, what do you got?
I got my line here. Checkout time. Like the Cowboys are looking like they might hire Schottenheimer as the new head coach. A guy that has been an OC, a lifelong OC, looked like he was never going to probably get a head coaching job other than maybe an interim. There's been a lot of rumors that Steven allegedly, the rumor is he wanted to get rid of Mike McCarthy, as did I, after the Green Bay loss. He kept him around, and there's a little bit of tension there. Well, not much of tension, but disagreement. Kelly Moore was looked to be the favorite. I think if you hire Schottenheimer, it's more of a could you not wait for his season to be over like other teams and say, hey, look, he's going to go on and play on. It could leak out next week if they're going to the Super Bowl and they could just say, hey, look. But there's been rumors of a lot of different things. It seems like a real mess. The only thing I will do as a fan is say, look, if it's him, Nick Saban, he's not built to be a pro coach. Go look at what happened in Miami. There was fights literally with guys that he almost fought a player in the locker room. That college coach needs all that control. I feel the same about Coach Prime, built for college. So it's been a circus. So I'm looking forward to after the Super Bowl is over, maybe the coaching decision is made, and at least looking into the part of the draft, which I do love. That brings me joy to see guys get to come to my favorite team and change their life. So I'm really, the Cowboys got me just like I want to talk about them as least as possible.
All right, Coach, you're on. You close us up.
Hey, man, great show, man. Listen, man, football's just about over, man. The weather, salute to everybody down in the South, man. Y'all got them inches of snow, man. Listen, get your snow boots and take care of yourselves, man. Don't be out there driving normal. Slow down. Watch out for the kids because they ain't looking. But, yeah, man, it's a good time, man. Get in shape, man. Everybody, let's work out, man. Brother Bennett, listen, man, I want you to give us your workout regimen, man. I need it, man, for real.
Hey, look. If you check out my latest video on my IG, all right, I do a Rocky IV homage. So I'm doing squats and I'm shoveling snow, and I kind of do that contrast between the two. So you guys can go check it. You guys go check it out there. Again, I apply my gym technique to everyday tasks, which is really what it's all about. At this point, I don't care so much about having big muscles and whatnot. I just want to be able to do routine tasks routinely. And certainly being in physical, strong shape allows you to do those comfortable things, whether it be mowing your lawn or shoveling snow. We got a few inches up here. So, certainly be able to do that and save my back, to me is what it's about. So, again, go check out my Rocky IV training video, and you'll see what I'm talking about on my IG, Paul T. Bennett at Instagram. But with that, again, looking forward to a great championship Sunday. And then maybe we can start talking about some NBA coming up. Honestly, I'm looking forward to it because March Madness, I didn't be able to get into basketball until April because Beak, thank you, great for the $20 super chat. Salute out to Beak for the blessing. Hello. We really appreciate you. But like I said, I used to get into March Madness, but March Madness has certainly lost its luster over the last couple years. And so now I might have to start getting into the NBA. I got to see if Cleveland is legit and all that stuff. So we'll start definitely doing more NBA content as we go on and whatnot. And we got some major fights also coming up in the near future. So again, thank you guys. Thank you for this active chat. This is one of the best chats certainly that we've had. We appreciate all the new folks who came through tonight. Just make sure you hit the like button as you leave, and also go to Coach Ferg's. Put his YouTube channel in as well. He's simulcasting over there, so make sure it just gives Coach Ferg some love on his YouTube. and make sure that you support his as well. But we appreciate you guys for being with us on another edition of the One-on-One Sports Show. From myself, Mr. Bennett, he is Brother Shawnee, Brother Dante, and the coach is in the building. Thank you guys for joining us. You guys take care. God bless. We'll see you next week.